Hello YouTube, I'm out in the workshop, so I have a little project to do actually for it's a paying job. I got to build a base cabinet, and I'll bring you over to the workbench here and show you what we got going on here. We're going to be doing a microwave unit, and I've never done one of these. It actually goes in a drawer underneath the countertop, and instead of doors we're going to put a drawer. And here's basically the shop drawing of what we're going to do. So we're going to start out by making a face frame, and once we get the face frame done, we'll start cutting sides, the bottom and the back and the top, and start making this thing into a cabinet. It's not a big job, but there's a lot of pieces and it takes a little bit of time. I happen to have a bunch of 3/4 inch oak, and this is just stuff ripped off of jobs I've done in the past, and you accumulate a big pile of this stuff, and I'll get enough clear cutting out of it, and we'll make the face frame out of this so I don't have to cut into new boards. So our first step, let's go over to the joiner here, and let's get some straight edges on this stuff. And that's my little Powermatic. And once I get some straight edges on it, then I can decide what I'm going to use. That'll be perfectly straight and square. Now we'll go over to the table saw, and I'm not going to keep you along on everything here. Otherwise this video is going to turn into a very long and boring video for you. So next step, and I know what sizes I need, so I don't need to really study it too much. The two styles are going to be, we're going to make them 2.5 inches. So we'll go ahead and rip that stock. So I'll go ahead and get all the pieces cut to the proper width, and then we're going to head over to the radial arm saw, and we will go ahead and cut the actual face frame out of here. So let's get the rest of that ripped, and I'll meet you over at the saw here in a minute. I got my stop set at 30.5, which is a standard face frame size. Always trim up a good edge, and what we're going to do, we'll cut a little bit more than that. We're going to save these two scraps. I'll show you what I use them for here in a second. Styles. And that saw is noisy. Alright, these are going to be the two styles. Then the cabinet's going to be 32 inches, so we will set the saw at 32, and now you put these two blocks in here. This takes away for the two styles, so the rails will be cut at the correct length. So same thing, square up an edge. Touch that piece of scrap. And when you put the cabinet together, this will make it 32 inches. So next step, we're going to go up to the pocket hole machine, and we'll just do that right now. And what I have here is a Craig pocket hole machine. And If I can take you off the camera here, or off the stand here. There we go. The way this works, make sure this is shut off, is that drill bit comes from underneath and cuts a perfect hole, and this little air ram comes down and holds the board down. So when I pull on the handle, this holds it down, this drills the hole, and we're ready to roll. So let me put you back up in the stand here. And let's lower the camera down a little bit. And you can buy just the handheld jigs, but since I have a full-size shop, and also that little bit of a burr that's underneath of this, just basically on the bottom side, you want to knock that off. That way the board sits absolutely flat. So you can set stops up. What I always do is just set the edge of the board to the edge of that ram, and it usually gets you right on the money. And you can see what a nice job it does. All right, we'll go ahead and get the rest of them drilled, and we're going to cut some dados at the table saw next. All right, we're back at the table saw here, and I set my saw up with a stacked dado head, which basically has an outer saw and an inner saw and a bunch of chippers that stack up in here. I got you zoomed in here pretty good. So what I did is I set it up so it's going to take a 1/2 inch wide, and I like to leave 1/2 inch remaining on the face frame, and then this will receive the sides of the cabinet. Now, the reason I like that 1/2 inch remainder, because when I cut the sides of the base cabinet, I'll cut them at 23.5, and that'll finish me out at 24 inches for the final width. So everything's set to go here. So make sure there's nothing on the bottom of this, or else it won't cut up perfectly flat. So you want to make sure, you really don't want to put no fingers. You want to stay safe as you can with this. There you go. That's ready to receive the sides of the cabinets, and we'll go ahead and head back over to the bench and start putting this frame together. Okay, we're ready to start putting this frame together, and we're going to use these pocket hole screws, and all we're going to do is just put a touch of glue on a joint. Don't need a ton of it, but when this glue dries and you take these screws, if you did take the screws out, you have a heck of a time breaking that apart. Glue has come such a long way in the past, 20, 30 years. It's unbelievable. And you just want to drive these screws in, and you pull them too tight, they will come out the other side. So we're starting with the top and just putting the glue on that side instead. So and cabinet making, I think, scares a lot of people. They think it's something you can't do. But with some basic tools, a little bit of skill, you can put together a decent cabinet. So what I like to do now is this is the top. In fact, as we gotta do, just put a T, because you'll see why in a second. We're putting a 2-inch top and bottom. We're going to put glue on both sides right now. And this cabinet will not have any interior that's finished. It's just going to be a drawer box on the bottom and just a hollow little house to put the microwave. And if you're making the kitchen, you can put together frames pretty fast. That thing tried to move on me. We're going to get one more bite on that. Take 2. We'll be all right. It'll work. I think that's better. Okay, now, that is the top of the cabinet. So, according to the drawing, they want that microwave sitting, they want the opening at 15 and 9/16. So I cut these 2 props at 15 and 9/16. That takes all the guesswork out of it for me. Don't have to measure nothing. I do the same thing if I'm going to have drawers in a base cabinet. I cut little spacer blocks, and we want to try to get this out over the bench enough to get this clamp. These clamps are the greatest things. And then this will be the size of the drawer on the bottom. But just face frame in real time, start to finish, we probably don't got 20 minutes tied up in it. And the next step, we'll start cutting parts for the cabinet. And there you have it. There's face framing for the cabinet, and let's go back to the saw and start cutting plywood. Okay, we're going to cut the cabinet sides, so go ahead and fire up the saw here. I got it set at 35 inches. We're going to cut it in rough. I cut all the factory edges off of this stuff. So all right. Put on a 34.5. And 34.5 inches is a standard base cabinet. Get this out of the way for now. It's nice to have a saw with a big runoff table. So, okay, that's the correct height. And we'll start cutting the width here. Just go 24. And always get rid of all this little bit of stuff laying on the sides. Don't want that interfering. Okay, we got a good edge here and here. So, turn it around. Got 23.5. And with that 1/2 inch that I left on the face frame, will give you your 24. Microphone. Now we will go to our 3 3/8. So I go 3 1/4. And here's what I like to do. Take as far as you can, snap that off, then go back up, clean that out. Otherwise, you have a projectile coming at you. Okay, now we got our toe kick. Shut this noise off. And you can see, by going one flipped up, one flipped down, the two finished sides go together and you have a mirrored side. So next step, I'll show you how I cut all the slots so this cabinet can actually go together. So we'll go up to the router table and get that done. Okay, we're going to go ahead and machine all the parts to put this cabinet together. And this is a homemade table. It's nothing more than a router mounted upside down. I run a 9/16 bit and I'm running 1/2 inch material. I like them to fit a little bit loose. So I have inserts that pop in and out. And this distance has already been determined. I've been using this for 35 years. Made a lot of parts with it. So we're going to start with the bottom. This is fairly noisy, so please excuse the noise. But we're going to do with the finished side down. And we're going to go ahead and feed through, and this will put the plow exactly where it has to be. Okay, so there's for the bottom of the cabinet. We'll just run through one side. And this does the top of a wall and a base cabinet. It's all the same. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to do the back. And the back is done in 2 cuts. I cut my back 3/4 inch, and the first cut I put the shim in here. So that will take our first cut. There you go, that's a completed part. And the reason I do that is when you put your back of the cabinet in, this leaves you some room to scribe it into the wall. So that's the whole reason I do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish machining these, and we can go ahead and start assembling this cabinet in a few minutes, so I'll see you then. Okay, we got everything machined out, and when I mean machining, getting all the plows and rabbets cut, first thing I do, this is a time saver right here. This little block of wood, and I got them for different dimensions. So when I'm going to be shooting through with the gun, you need to put a line on. So what I've done for years is basically this right here would be for the base bottom. So you just hold this little gauge on here and just drag it along with the pencil. That's done. And then on the top of the cabinet, that's for the top. Same thing, we just drag it along. That tells me where I'm going to put my staples at. And then on the back, same thing. Hold it on and just drag it along. And that's it. All right. But yeah, if you're going to do a lot of construction, make up these little gauge blocks. Save you a lot of time. Okay, now I'm going to switch to my little brad nail gun. I'm going to be shooting 1-inch brads. We're going to toenail these in. So, and again, the glue's going to do 99% of the work. The nail's going to be here pretty much for a clamp. So hopefully you're good enough in the camera here. Make sure there's nothing in here, because it will hold that away. Put a decent amount of glue. And we want to make sure, again, we put the X to tell us that's the top of the cabinet. It's really easy to make a mistake, and then you would have a cabinet that's upside down, or in some cases, downside up. Making sure it's flush with the top at all times, and making sure it's at the very bottom, and which it is. And then all we're going to do is hold our gun and just start toenailing it. You don't need a ton of them in there. That takes care of that side. Set the gun down. I'm going to put the glue in first. Let me turn this a little bit so you can see it. Very simple construction. Here's the other side. Same thing. Flush with the top. And I don't know if you can see me or not. I'm going to slide over just a little bit here. I'm just holding your gun at the proper angle. And what I always do, you try something different, get a scrap block. One more. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the staple gun. Run 1.5 inch quarter crown staples. And basically, in my case, I make these, when I route this, I route these about 1/8 inch deep. So basically you measure in between, you add your 1/4 inch, and that's what you cut your part at. And when you cut the width, you measure your size and you add 1/8 inch to it. And that'll give you the proper size. Let me grab the bottom of this. In addition to the bottom, I put pocket holes in, and this will help hold it to the face frame. So, making sure the pocket holes are down, and the finish is going to be in, so we'll go ahead and put some glue in there. And I put a pre-finished plywood. This plywood has a clear coat on it. And this glue here is critical because the pocket holes are going to help pull that tight while the glue dries. And you're making sure that you're down tight to the face frame and you close up all the gaps on the inside. And you're going to come through with your staple gun. You basically had marked the lines. I like to make sure that you're holding down. And you're going to start following them lines you just made. Don't need many. And again, here we go. Make sure that's tight. And one thing, like, it's just where the drawer is going to go. Not going to make a big difference. Okay, now, time for the back of the cabinet. And everything's looking nice. And I'll come around this way. Let's go ahead and put these pocket hole screws in. This thing just keeps falling off. I wish I had a little lapel for it. And when you put these in, the best bet is try to hold that so it don't slide too far forward, because the pocket hole's going to try to make it. Okay, that's good now. We'll drive these in. That gives it a lot of strength. All right, now it's time for the back. I'm going to move the camera around this side, so I think we'll have a better view here. It's all about the view. All right, let's turn this around. And what I done on the back of the cabinet, we put the same machining top and bottom, and then I put the lines on it already. At this point, the top has no assigned, there is not a top or bottom on it. It's universal. So, put some glue in the bottom. Then we're going to put some glue in each side of these. Need long arms. Cabinet makers have long arms. That will work. Okay, making sure that you're in nice and tight here. And we're going to start from the top and work our way down. And the reason I do that, it's got just a slight bit of bow to it. Okay, it's nice and tight. And we're just going to keep going along here with the gun. basically getting your fingers and holding down tight. And if you were going to put a finished side on this cabinet, you'd be putting plywood on it anyway. Now we'll go to the back, we'll pull this down. That's looking good. Okay, one side done. Come over to this side. Same thing, making sure it's down in, pushing it down tight. I'm going to start in the middle here to get that little bit of a bow out of it. Looking nice. I'm going to get one up here. And we're going to do the same thing, pull this back down. Okay. Getting close to being done here. And we'll shoot across the bottom here. All right, I'm going to get this thing repositioned and we're going to go ahead and put a couple other things on. I'll be with you here in a second. Okay, we are getting there, and on the top of my cabinets, we need an attachment point for the countertop. So I had run the plows all the way through, and we're going to put a couple strips I'd made up, and they're going to get glued and shot in. So here we go. And we're getting really close that the actual cabinet itself would be done. And here's what you have to do. You have to spring these in and bring them back even. So that locks in. I believe we're in tight there. And then this one here, we're going to run pocket holes on the front like we did on the bottom. So what I will do is I will run a little bit of glue on the side, and we're going to put a little bit of glue on the front edge here. So that way when the pocket holes snug it up. Okay. So we start in the middle again, spring it open, and we're going to pull this forward. Perfect fit. So we're going to go ahead and just make sure it's tight against the face, and we're going to shoot these in first. And never put your finger above where you're shooting, because plywood has been known to send the fasteners like off course because it's got many plies, and if your finger's there it'll be in and you'll be fastened to the cabinet. All right, and we're going to do the back while we're here. And after we get, that's good enough. Now, let's get a couple pocket hole screws, 3 to be exact. And we're going to put the pocket hole screws in. And again, just go by feel. You want to push up a little bit, because it pulls it a little bit down. But this is a really good connection. Okay, now we're almost to the home finish line here, everybody. So stick with me here for a second. Okay, this is for a microwave that's going to go in here. So we need to put a floor in here. So I'm going to go ahead and, here's what's nice about this plywood. It's light. Oh, we got to put a toe kick on too. I'm sorry. So this is laid on his back. And bring you guys back into the picture. And it's hard to film by yourself. I'm trying to do the best I can so you get the idea of what I'm doing. So, toe kick, where are you at? Oh, it's here somewhere. Well, let's find a toe kick. This might be it here. And the toe kick itself, yep, that's it. What we're going to do is, all you're going to do is we're going to glue it, shoot it, and then we're going to get a couple, we're going to make some gusset blocks, and we're going to stick them behind there. I'm not going to do that at the moment, but that's going to be basically how the toe kick's going to go on this cabinet. So I'm not going to do this right now, but that's one thing that needs done. Then we got the shelf for the actual microwave. And what kind of view you got there? I think it's pretty good. So I had gone ahead and made, this is just some stuff I had laying around, and this is going to hold the temporary, or hold the shelf in temporarily until we get it set. And I can shove them in tight, and then this one's going to be for the back, and then I'll move it to the front. I had went ahead, and while you weren't here, I made lines all the way around the cabinet so I know where to shoot. And if there's something more annoying than putting a piece in and you shoot a hole through it, it's pretty sad. So in this case here, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this edge, because you'll see we have to sort of, and then again we put the pocket holes back in here. That my friends makes all the difference. You want a mechanical fastener with the glue. We want to sit on top of them spacers. And as I always say, boom, there it is. So we're going to make sure everything is nice and tight to where it is on them blocks, and we're going to come around here and we're going to shoot. We're going to do the two ends first. And we are with the staple gun, and always shoot slightly below the line, because that'll be in the drawer space. You'll never see it. And feels good. And we'll get about 4 or 5 across there. Okay, that side's done. We're gonna come across to the next side. And we're gonna make sure that them blocks are right where they need to be. So, spin it around so you can see it. Beautiful. And we're going to do the same thing. I like to shoot front and back and check it. Good. We'll get about another 3 or 4 in there. Okay. And we've got to do them across the back. I'm just making sure that that is sitting nice, and it is. So we're going to turn the cabinet completely around for you. And here we go. And this will pull that back in nice and tight. Now, anybody out there that's actually a cabinet maker or been in the business, these Senko SKS staplers, honestly, I don't know how you could beat this thing. It's oilless. I've had it, that one stapler I think I had since the 80s. Okay. Now we're going to get the pocket holes. We're going to drive them through the front. we are pretty much done with the actual cabinet. In fact, let me bring you in a little bit closer here. And it's nice and tight. I'm going to get something, I'm going to get a little shim underneath there. It needs a little bit of raising. And I got to find, I think this thickness of this manual will just about be what the doctor ordered. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to fold that in half. We're going to double it. Oh, that's perfect. There you go. Yeah, one more to go. And we'll bring you around this side. I need a cameraman or person. Okay. Once that glue dries, this is basically indestructible. Perfect. So a microwave will slide in there and it opens up like a drawer. I've never seen one of these before. So this is the end of part 1, my microwave base cabinet build. And then here's the, there it is. That's right out of the manual. And a client said, can you build one for these? I said, I'd never heard of it before. So there it is. Next video, we are going to make a drawer box. It's going to be dovetailed. And we're going to make just a drawer front. Very simple. And then the actual microwave, I don't know if it'll be here for the video. I might ask him to bring it out just so I can show you what this thing looks like. And then I guess there's a couple blocks that will go up in here somewhere. There's a couple blocks so this thing don't try to roll down, because I guess the microwave sort of sits in there by itself. I don't think I think it gets fastened in through the frame, and as you open the drawer, they don't want it to fall down. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the shop videos. I try to get out here as much as I can. I work 40 hours a week, plus we have the sawmill, so at least you got to see some of our oak actually getting used for a project. So thank you again. Please subscribe to the channel, please like, and please share. And I will catch you on part 2, and we'll be making some drawer box. We'll make a drawer box, a drawer front, and put a finish on this thing, and we'll ship it down the road. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.